To my subscribers. To my subscribers, the war is not going to see. The war with this peace that we have is not going to hold. Okay? It is not going to hold. So what is going on? Well, let me explain to you what's going on. I do not believe that this peace that we have between the US and Iran is going to hold. Why am I saying that? Well, I am saying that for several reasons. I'm saying that because I believe that we are in a situation, we're in a situation right now that is a bit complicated. What does it mean? Right? What does it mean, really? What is going on? Well, I think first of all, let's talk about this so-called ceasefire that we have. Let's talk about the ceasefire that we have. So what are the key terms? Mutual and phased cessation of hostilities. Both countries agreed to a full ceasefire. Okay, they have agreed. 2, it was brokered by Qatar and the US. The Emir and the Prime Minister played a vital role in getting this thing done, right? But it's a conditional compliance. What does that mean? It essentially means that Israel pledged to pose if Iran ceased missile strikes. Nothing was written. Nothing is written in blood. Nothing is written, right? And Iran agreed the ceasefire would hold only if Israel refrains from further military action. So the ceasefire is already under strain. Iran, basically, parliament suspended cooperation with the IAEA. So let's talk Turkey here. Basically, we don't really have an agreement. Nobody sat down and signed anything, right? So basically, they both said, okay, I'm going to stop, you're going to stop, I'm going to stop, we're stopping, and Trump said, you guys are stopping. Now, frankly, on one end, does Iran wants to do anything else? No, they have no interest in keeping these things going, right? On the other side, you've got Trump. And Trump is saying, look, I'm successful, it was done, the deal is done, so we're going home. And Israel says, well, actually, I wanted to go on, but I had to stop because of you, and you're my friend, and you're going to do this and this and this for me. By the way, that's the reason why he's coming to Washington next week, because they wants to know exactly what kind of deal these two made, because Israel wanted to keep going. Okay, so you got that going for you. Now, of course, the only reason this is going to start again is if Iran is attacking Israel, which is not going to happen. They're not that crazy. Maybe one of their friends are going to do it, but that's unlikely. But I don't know if you've seen a recent tweet from Trump, because what's been happening is that it is not the victory that he thought he was going to get. Why not? Well, because his own national security advisor, hey, look, hey, Senor Mota. Well, I'm not giving you news here. I am going to give you the news, but I'm going to tell you what's really going on underneath, because as a Black Swan subscriber, what you want to do is you want to understand what's happening. So on Monday morning, you know what to expect in the stock market and your daily lives, quite frankly, right? So right now, we have Trump that is basically saying, I have the power, but I'm not going to use it. I used it and we're done. But we're not done. We're not done. Keep in mind that now the story is shifting. is shifting to the 400 kilos, 800 pounds, of enriched uranium, which is 60% enriched. Now, it wouldn't take that much to create a bomb, okay? So Iran reportedly retained about 800 pounds of uranium. And they asked him, where the heck is he? Where is that 800 pounds? We don't know where it is, okay? And the expert in satellite imagery suggests Iran may have relocated some of that stockpile, possibly from Fordo to Aden and Harden site. They may have moved it somewhere else. So we're not done. We're not done, because basically what you did, you destroyed the centrifuges, but this is going to take some time to do it, right? It's going to take some time to be able to finish it. The IAEA Director General confirmed the stockpile existed before the strike and emphasized the need for resume inspection to verify its location and integrity. Without ground access, the IAEA cannot confirm whether that uranium remains in Iran and has been moved elsewhere. The 800 pound remained a serious proliferation risk. Now, of course, you're going to say, well, who cares? Well, Trump cares. Trump cares very much. Look at the tweet that he put out today. He's very pissed that the Iranian mullah, the big guy over there, basically is saying, we won, we're fine, nothing happened. We beat the US, we beat Israel, we kicked everybody's butt, we are just doing fine, and we won, and now we're going to turn around on our people and find out all the spies, and we're going to clean house. So it is not the greatest win in history. In addition to that, and these two guys we're not going to see, the vice president has kind of said that, I mean, yeah, you did some damage, but you didn't destroy anything. You really didn't. And Tulsi Gabbard, the national security advisor, kind of said the same thing, and that's why they're both out. Now, why am I saying that this thing is going to start again? The reason I am saying this, right, is because, first of all, I'm not the only one to say, right? You should realize that this ceasefire is basically, let me talk to you about four people. Professor Robert Pape, University of Chicago. He called the lull, the stop in the fighting, a true danger zone, warning that Iran will now probably sprint for a bomb. Because not so much that they're going to have the bomb and they're going to bomb Iran, because that's never going to work, right? You're never going to survive, because by the time you open your silos, they're going to bomb you. But if they have it, then you can't do anything for them. You can't go in it the same way Pakistan has the bomb, right? You may or may not like what they do, but now that they have the bomb, you got to be careful. Or same thing with North Korea. So that's what's happening. They have to be careful that they don't have it. You just need to have it. You don't need to use it. You just need to have it. And this professor basically said that the lull is a true danger zone. Firas Maksad, which is a managing director of the Eurasia Group, told Reuters the deal is a gamble. It remains to be seen whether the ceasefire will hold, noting any renewed Iranian retaliation would quickly unravel it. Henry Solowski and Mr. Ben Saboun, Non-Proliferation Policy Education Center in France, jointly argued the world may be celebrating too soon. Iran still have 800 pounds of the 60%. So now the conversation has shifted from the fact that they wanted to destroy the centrifuges, which probably has been done to various extent, but it has been done. But now they're saying, hey, what about the bomb? Where is this uranium? And the more the Iranian keeps saying we have won, the more you are pissing off Trump. And remember what happened yesterday. Yesterday, the Supreme Court handed out to Trump a huge victory, basically saying that lower courts cannot dictate what Trump needs to do. So now whenever he wants to do something globally, I mean, a local court could do it, but a local court cannot impact his decision from the entire country perspective. So he has a lot more power. Now, next week we have Netanyahu that's coming onto campus. He's coming to Washington, right? What do you think is going to happen there? That's a question. Well, he's coming officially to say how great we did. It was congratulations. We did fantastic. We got them, right? So they're saying that, okay, so that's what you're coming for. Now, my subscribers, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, he's not coming for that. He's not going to make that trip. He's got lots of things going on. They're going to have discussions. Now, what type of discussions are you going to have? Because don't forget that technically, diplomatic view, right? There's a view that on June 25th, Trump basically stated that he would hold talks with Iran next week. That's coming up, possibly even signing a document. Because now he's going to say, you know what? I want people on the ground to verify what was done. No, you can't come in. In fact, we don't want the IAEA anymore. I would like to insist on that. I want to make sure, because my people don't believe me. And when I say my people, you have to understand that Trump is responsible to the MAGA people. You know, you got Tucker Carlson, you know, you've got that lady Marjorie Wright, you got Steve Bannon, you got a bunch of other people, right, that basically are the core MAGA people that got him elected. And one thing they did not want him to do, they did not want him to actually start a war. And he started it, right? He started that war. I mean, he just, you know, threw a bunch of bombs and that was it. But he started it and I said, be careful, don't do that. That is not, because you were lucky. You were lucky that nothing happened. You were lucky that didn't respond. You were lucky that the American soldiers didn't die, because if that was the case, then we would be in it. And this is not what we elected you for. We want you to take care of the immigration. We want you to make sure that everything is okay with the border. We want to make sure you get some tariffs, not too many, but I guess tariffs. And we want to do all these things. And I want you to do these things first, right? And the 5% with NATO, thank you very much. Things like that. But we don't want you to start a war, because that takes us back to Iraq and Afghanistan. So please don't do that. And he almost did it. You know, don't forget, he used to own casinos, so he's a bit of a gambler in his own way. But it's worked so far. You got to give credit for the man. The man is very insistent. It has worked. Now, of course, this has huge implication. If it doesn't work, or in this case, what Trump is doing is basically saying to the MAGA, wait, because I don't give up, I'm going to prove it to you, right? I'm going to prove it to you that it was done for the right reason. And that's why he started all over again this morning with a tweet. He went on. I mean, look at it. It's a rambling, but he's basically warning Iran that I might be wanting to come back in there. In fact, I believe that he actually said it. In fact, the Iran foreign minister on June 21st said maybe the U.S. wants to attack anyway. Right? Iran, for instance, on the Trump 2-week window, we can't trust America anymore. Right? United States perhaps has something else in mind and wants to attack Iran anyway. Right? They know that. If I know it, you can imagine that they know that. Trump is mulling this idea because now he has the power. He has, of course, he's not going to do it now. He's going to wait until after the big, beautiful bill is passed. And that, my friend, and don't forget to subscribe, by the way, to this channel, because I'm giving you the story and the black swan story. You know, anything that could go wrong so that you understand what's happening. That, my friend, is the key question. What is he going to do next week with Netanyahu? Right? He's going to talk to him, but he's going to wait. He's going to wait until after the big, beautiful bill. I think that he's coming over, frankly, to help Trump with the Jewish lobby. Right? That's very powerful. The AIPAC within Washington, to make sure that this bill gets passed and put the right pressure, the right people, or whatever, and then they're going to discuss what happens next. Now you have to understand that Netanyahu was going to be indicted. right? Before this whole thing started with Gaza and now with Iran. And this whole fighting is giving him a reprieve. In fact, Trump said it 2 days ago, let the man free. This is politically driven prosecution. Okay, fine. Now, if Netanyahu feels that, you know what, they want me again, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to jail, quote unquote. Then he's going to say, we might want to continue. I want to really finish it because now we're not totally done. Maybe that 800 pounds of uranium is running around Iran. We need to find it. We need to get it. We need to stop it. And that could give the opening for Trump to do it. Now, you're going to say, you know, why? What's the interest of Trump? What does he want? What does he want from this, right? What does he want? Well, he wants a win, right? He likes winning, right? So he got a win yesterday with the Supreme Court. He got a win with the 5% with NATO. That was fantastic. That was a good deal. Immigration, DOGE, the tariffs. That's not really working that well for him, right? He's having issue with all that. The tariffs. The tariffs. Look what happens recently. Yesterday, Canada say, okay, now we're gonna reciprocal tariffs. We're gonna start talking about that a little more. And then you see, you know what? You betrayed us. We're out. We're not dealing with you anymore. So now he's picking a fight with Canada. Now, for the right reason, for the wrong reason, we don't really care in this channel. What we care about is what's going to be the impact. Because remember one thing, the market is up. Yes, in the US. And in fact, Trump also tweeted, look, the market is up under my, well, we reached new high. Yes, you have reached new high, but I need to remind you that the market was doing this, then it went this, and now we're back up. So I don't know if we did that great, right? I'm not so sure if the market is up that much. Spain is doing better, and Germany. So again, he needs a win. Now you have to understand the thinking of Trump. He never gives up. He never gives up. So with that kind of thinking, remember, they were going to indict him. They shot at him. They did a bunch of things, and he was back, and he's fighting even more. So this thing with Iran is not over. He's going to go back in there the week after once he's done with the big, beautiful bill, which has lots of issue of its own, and we'll do a video on that, probably Monday, to see what's going on, because it's supposed to pass by July 4th. And this is an expensive bill. The thing that I think is going to happen, they're going to wait. They're going to make some kind of an agreement with Netanyahu next week. Then he's going to wait until it's done, the beautiful bill. Then he's going to go back to Iran. He started today with his huge tweet. And he's going to say, let me tell you what Trump said in his tweet today, because it is amazing that, he goes on, just give me the tweet, Trump on Iran, right? It was an interesting one, right? So basically, that yesterday, his country was decimated, and it goes on for a while, by the way, right? It's not, his country was decimated. Its 3 evil nuclear sites were obliterated, and I knew exactly where he was sheltered. I would not let Israel. I saved him from a very ugly death. He's boasting of obliterating the 3 nuclear sites. He warns, he prevented the US from killing him. He's echoing his allied stance, military dominance combined with a willingness to escalate. The signs are there, my friend. See the sign, because what's going to happen is in July, let's assume we get the big, beautiful bill passed. Let's assume that in July 9th, you now need to deal with the tariffs. How are you going to deal the tariffs? How are you going to manage that, right? So we only, out of 100 countries, we only have one deal with UK, a real deal, the UK, that's it. Canada is getting really, really, really forthcoming by saying, no, that's not going to work. We're going to retaliate. Well, then you're out. When I don't care, then fine. So you have 98 countries. What are you going to do on July 9th? You're going to postpone it again? Don't forget also what is happening in the market right now. Inflation is gearing its ugly head. Inflation is up. If you look at trueflation, since June, it's been going up. Up. Why? Well, I mean, the cost, the additional cost tied with the tariffs. Remember, last year the US were paying about 3%. They're paying 3%. Now, on average, we are paying about 10%. I mean, they're paying 10% to the US, which is good, which is good. The only thing is the amount of money is up 72%, 72 billion, up 82% from last year, but someone is going to retaliate. They're not going to keep paying the 10%, right? I mean, he's not getting anywhere with Europe, and he's not getting anywhere with Canada. He kind of got somewhere with China, but China is very hesitant to give them the rare minerals which the US is going to use to put in their weapons. Who knows where that's going to go ultimately. So that's a little bit difficult. That is a bit of an issue right now. So you combine A, the temperament of Trump of never giving up. 2, the bellicose and the situation with Iran saying, we won, we won, we won. 3, we do not know where that 800-pound refined uranium at 60% is. We don't know any of that. 4, Netanyahu is coming to campus next week. 5, their talks are tentative and stalled pending Iran's willingness. Offers of sanction relief, already Trump said there's not going to be any sanction relief yesterday, right? He said that. And civilian nuclear projects have been floated, but Iran maintains its enrichment rights. The ceasefire is fragile, and recent strikes damage the nuclear sites, but did not destroy anything. Especially not, we don't know what happened to the 800 pounds. Next step, the US remain open to talks, but Tehran awaits clearer incentives and guarantees. A direct meeting appears uncertain. How long do you think that Trump is going to wait and wait and wait in order to get things done? And don't forget, within the Trump administration, I hate to tell you, but the Trump administration is in turmoil. Let me explain to you. Tulsi Gabbard has been sidelined. She has been dropped from the Senate. Tulsi is a national security advisor. She's advising the president on security issues. She's out, right? Because she basically said that, she basically said that she was wrong. He openly criticized her, saying that she was wrong about Iran nuclear capability, deepening her fall from favor. Reports indicate that Gabbard has been sidelined in internal administration discussion on Israel and Iran, a departure from her earlier participating role. So she's out. Tell me if you see her. So what does that mean? It means that Trump wants to be with people that agree with him. Now you will note that J.D. Vance himself, the president, the vice president, expressed reservation about the effectiveness of the recent bombing on Iran nuclear sites. He said there was substantial setback, yes, but it was not obliterated. Vance refused to confirm President Trump's claim that Iran's nuclear facility were completely and totally obliterated, instead saying that there was substantial setback. He emphasized that while the operation achieved its goal, final judgment await further intelligence. Oh my God, where is he now, right? He's also been sidelined because he didn't agree with Trump. So the way it's going to work is all the people that are questioning him as being moved out, removed from sight, right? so then he could decide what he wants to do, and he wants to be with the people that agree with him. And you saw this, there was a briefing, right, from the Pentagon not too long ago, and basically you had the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth denouncing media outlets. You're lying. You're saying things that are not true. Why are you picking on my president? Obviously, he's very close to the president now. He loves him. Even Fox and CNN, and for misrepresenting the success of the strike, calling the DIA leaked preliminary assessment low confidence or preliminary. That is not true. You're mudding up the water. We did it. We destroyed them. Please stop it. Otherwise, we need to go back in it. Official language like obliterated and severe damage, echoing the President Trump's rhetoric, asserting that strikes destroyed. Of course, Hegseth dismissed the DIA initial setback estimates only a few months because someone somehow released an internal memo saying, you know what, this thing is they only got postponed by a few months. So you got the few months plus the fact that you can't find the 800-pound uranium. So what did you really do? And Trump is not going to let that go. Now, you could see that the cane came up and he showed a massive thing. He showed the video and the destruction. And he said, look all the things that we've done. This is possible. We're doing great. And the more they were doing that, the more I looked at it, I say, oh my God, they really want to prove someone, but they're not proving it to you, right? Because don't forget, this channel, what this channel is about is explaining to you what's going on internally. So don't forget to subscribe. I'm explaining to you what's going on underneath. When this guy was over there, explain to everyone, look, we did this, we did that. Look at the bombing. Look at the good soldiers that we have. They're so good. They're so smart. They're so beautiful, right? What they were saying is Trump was talking to the MAGA people saying, look, you see, I was right. Now, you have to understand that the power underneath, besides what you hear, is what's really going on underneath. There was a tremendous amount of pressure on Trump to say, okay, you know what? You wanted to do, then show it to us that you're right. We're going to, even Fox people went after him, right? Even the MAGA people went after him and said, what are you doing? You are not making any sense. You should not be doing that. But Trump needs a win. Now, you can imagine all the things that are going on right now. So you got this thing going on right now, right? So that's going to be very uncertain. The second thing that's happening right now is that the big, beautiful bill is coming out. Now, that's going to be a doozy to get done by the end of the week because a lot of these people feel that this is too expensive. The bill is too expensive. It is tremendously expensive. It's going to cost an additional $4 trillion of addition in terms of the amount of debt that the U.S. is going to have to carry. That's going to be very, very, very heavy. Okay. Then, on top of that, you've got the tariffs coming right after, okay? Then, I hate to say it, but Trump also wants to get rid of the Fed chair, and he's going to have another Fed chair. So be careful that in June, July, we're going to have a very, very, very hot summer. It's going to be very complicated because all these things are going to come to a collapse. And with Trump eliminating anyone, only wanting to talk to people that tell him what he wants to hear, what do you think is going to happen? What's going to happen is that we are going to be in a lot of trouble. The reason you're going to be in a lot of trouble is because all these things are going to come to roost at the same time. Now, remember one thing. Remember one thing about Trump. Okay? Of course, I'm not wishing for this, but I'm just telling you that historically, Trump used to own a lot of casinos. Where are they now? And the stock market is reaching new high, but frankly, we are nowhere near. In fact, I will tell you right now how we're doing. I'm going to tell you right now how the stock market is doing because you're going to realize that it will have an impact. Right now, this week, okay, the market is actually down by 0.32%. Okay. Now, of course, if you compare to the other stock market worldwide, France is down 2% and Italy is down a lot more. Okay, so we're fine. Monthly, we are up 1.5%, and that we beat a lot of the European countries. Year to date, we're up 2%. So when you hear that the stock market is doing great in the US, not really. The market is doing 2%. Okay, they're doing much better overseas. And year to date, we're doing 2%. Spain is doing 19%. So there's something going on, right? And what's going to happen this summer is all those chickens are going to come to roost at the same time. You're going to have inflation that's going to go up. It's already going up. You're not seeing it in the CPI, but Trueflation is showing it to you. Then you're going to have the tariffs. There is no way by July 9th you're going to get, 90 deals. And he's saying, you know what, then 45% for everyone. Okay. Or maybe he's just going to leave it the way it is, quite frankly. And if he doesn't change anything, then those people are paying 10%. Right? They're paying 10% instead of paying 3% on average, I'm talking about. And so the U.S. is going to keep making money. But how long do you think? Well, Canada is already saying, well, hold on, we're not going to keep paying that forever. We're going to go retaliatory tariff, which is already happening yesterday. And that's why yesterday Trump said, you know what, we're not dealing with these people anymore. Okay. Then you're also going to have the fact that because the Fed is not going to lower the rates, I hate to tell you, because inflation is going to be up. Plus, he's pretty pissed at Trump to begin with. That's going to create confusion because Trump now is going to go he's going to double game it. Right. His technique right now, which seems to be working, it worked with Netanyahu and it worked with NATO, is I'm going to push it right through. I'm going to force a decision. I'm going to coerce you into doing something. And it worked. It worked. Now, of course, these people don't do anything for free, right? Netanyahu didn't say yes and then that's it. No, he said yes. And by the way, can you say something about my trial? And that's why Trump came out and said, we believe this is a motivation, this is a politically motivated, leave him alone. So all the pieces are there for an Iran and Israel confrontation all over again. Not started by Iran, but I believe it's going to be started by the US and Israel potentially by saying, okay, we need to get in there. We need to check it. Where is that 800-pound gorilla? Where is that 800-pound uranium that you've been hiding from us? There's no way you're going to know, because something that I found out also is, because you're going to say, well, that's just hearsay, right? No. The IAEA, the IAEA recently, what did I see this? The IAEA has actually shown that, I don't have it here. I thought I had it. But basically, the IAEA said that a few days before the bombing started, they did see it. They did see that 800-pound uranium was still there before the bombing started. So it was there. And then it's not there. And they did see trucks moving back and forth somehow around the time where the other bombing was starting. So there's enough uncertainty here to build a case that maybe something is going on. Maybe we're going to have a problem. Maybe we should do something about it. Okay. So what are we going to do? Well, you have to get in there. You need to be able to get to that 800. Now remember, that 800-pound uranium enriched to roughly 60% is sufficient for approximately 9 to 10 nuclear weapons if further refined before the attacks. Expert and satellite imagery suggests Iran may have relocated some of that stockpile, possibly from Fordo and Isfahan to hidden or hardened sites. Exed and Trump have firmly stated that there is no intelligence indicating the uranium moved prior to the bombing, so we were fine with that, but the story is not going away. Now you have to realize, but it's just a story. Who cares? Trump cares. You have to understand the mindset. He's not going to let it go. He's not going to let go of this situation for a while. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel, as I want to make sure you understand what's happening. In other words, what we're going to do, we're going to look for a few things, right? What you want to watch out for the few things is, because Iran said, we don't want the IAEA in there anymore. Okay, fine. So if you don't want the IAEA, how do we check? See what happens with that. 2, see what happens next week between Netanyahu and Trump. What kind of discussion are we having? What is going to happen? Are they going to talk about something? What are they going to decide? 3, see the discussion with Iran and the fact that they want to go in there and talk about it and have some sort of an agreement to show that in fact there is nothing going on. It's going to be very delicate, right? Because on one hand you say we won, the other hand you say, well, oh my God, I hope they don't bomb us, because us guys is totally open. They could do whatever they want, and they know it. That's a tremendous amount of power to be holding. You see, I could go in there anytime and kick the crap out of them all over again. Why can't I do that? Why can't I get back in there? These people are making fun of me. They're not appreciative. They may have the bomb. I got my people on top of me. They're pushing me. They don't believe in me. Now you're going to say, well, no. This is important. Look at the tweet. Look at that tweet from Trump. He went on and on and on about this morning. It was amazing that, he actually say things like that. And he went on over and over and over, basically saying that I didn't trust you, something about vinegar and oil and God. And you could see, don't forget, okay, you don't get. I remember I saw Trump once, I have to tell you. I was in New York, and I was walking, I was going to work, and he had a new building that was almost completed, and he was there with these guys, right? He had 4 people following him, and he was pointing. I always remember that he was pointing to he was pointing to a door, right? He was pointing to a door that was not, maybe it wasn't fit properly. There was a problem with it or whatever, and he was saying, do this. And the guy got up, oh, Mr. Trump, yeah. So, what the hell do you care about the door, right? He is what I call a detail man. You cannot let it go. Now, to get to that level of success, and you may or may not like the guy, but the guy is successful, right? He became president twice. Do you know that there's never been a president, very, very rare that a president was president, lost, and come back. That almost never happens. That, and by the way, almost trying to get shot. And, by the way, he was being sued by everyone in creation. He could have gone to jail. And he had the whole machine against him. Do not underestimate the man, okay? You don't get to that level. If you go back to his history, you will see that he had a brother. His brother died. His brother committed suicide. Well, he drank himself to death. And Trump didn't. And his father was a very tough father, to the point where at the end his brother was living up in the attic of his father's house, and he lost all, and the father went after him too. So it wasn't a pretty sight. The point is, this is not someone that's going to say, listen, okay, I'm moving on. I want to help the people. I want to make sure that people get their taxes, and let's negotiate. No. He's 79 years old. And who knows how much time he has. He has nothing to lose. He's not going to be president again. Now, the Supreme Court gave him a huge victory in terms of his ability to do things. What do you think he's going to do with that? Right? He wants to be called Big Daddy, like the people at NATO told him, oh, Big Daddy, 5%. Yeah, we're going to. That's right. Spain said, well, actually, I don't think I could afford it. And he went after Spain. He said, well, we're going to double the tariffs on them. He doesn't care. Now, remember, in his mind, right, when he says, I'm going to raise the tariffs, you're going to pay more. Even if you have no agreement, yeah, we'll negotiate the agreement, right? But meanwhile, you're paying, right? So Europe right now is paying more. It's just that, they can't get together. He says, fine, whenever you get together, we'll talk. But in the meantime, you're paying me. Don't forget, right now, as per my calculation, the U.S. is taking in May 2025, the U.S. tariffs collection hit $23 billion versus 6 in 2024. Okay? In June 2025, $72 billion. Think of it this way. up 81%. In 2025 alone, the US is expected to collect $156 billion, regardless if you have a deal or no deal from the tariffs. That is 0.5 GDP. So, my dear subscribers, please do subscribe because I want to explain to you what's going on. This channel, by the way, what this channel is about is to look for black swans. What are black swans? Basically, we're looking for what could possibly go wrong. But before it goes wrong, right? Because when it goes wrong, it's too late. Either you're in the middle of a war, or your market is down, you lost your money, you lost your job, it's too late. We want to find out, and this technique has served me very well, I must say, is to try to look for black swan. Black swan is named after Taleb Nassim. Taleb Nassim is a very smart guy. He wrote a bunch of books about risk, right? And one of the things that he said is that I get up every morning knowing that I don't know anything. I do not know anything. You need to do the same thing. You need to be like Socrates. You need to get up in the morning and say, I don't know what's going on. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel because this is important for you to understand what is happening, okay? So what did Socrates say? Socrates said basically that I believe that I don't know anything. And this is what Taleb Nassim did. And that's why he made 4,000% in the stock market in 2020. He made 4,000% in the stock market in 2020. How? By basically hedging himself ahead of time, by making money by buying long-dated put option, by essentially hedging the tail risk. Hedging the fat tail is called, right? The likelihood that nothing is going to happen. Like right now, what is a fat tail? Well, Trump is not going to, I mean, this war is not going to start again, right? Why would it start again? That doesn't make any sense. This war is not going to start. That's a fat tail you need to look for. That is what you need to look for. That is what you need to be worried about. Because when it doesn't happen, then the cost, right? The cost to hedge, to insure against that risk is very low. That is a time to buy. That is how you make money in the stock market. You make money in the stock market when everyone is selling, you're buying. And when everyone is buying, you're selling. Like right now, the GDP has been revised in the US, right, to minus 0.5. That's the first time. Inflation is going up. That is called stagflation. We have potentially stagflation in the US. Subscribe to this channel as I will help you understand what's happening, not only, my rendition or my view as to what's happening in the world, but more importantly, I want to explain to you how you can take advantage of it. The idea is not to be a consumer of information. You're not here to consume information. You are here to analyze information and understand what's happening. They will not tell you what's happening. They will tell you the news. They will tell you that Trump, that Pete Hegseth had, for example, a briefing with the chair of, with the head of the armies in the US to explain what was going on, that they actually destroyed. But why did they do that? Why did they take the need to actually go in such detail to explain to you that in fact it was destroyed? Well, frankly, someone asked him, yeah, but where is the 800-pound uranium? And they couldn't answer that question, right? And they said, but it was destroyed anyway. So how do you know? Well, you're picking on us. How can we show you something that we can't show you? So why did they have this thing? They had this presentation, right? They had this presentation because Trump is under pressure to demonstrate that he was correct in taking such a huge gamble in potentially starting a war. You could have started a war and you won, yes, but you took a huge risk. So show us that you were correct. And he's going to show it to them, not to you. He's not showing it to you. He's showing it to the MAGA people. He's showing it to the MAGA people that he was correct. And this is what this channel is about. This channel is about explaining to you what's going on, analyzing what's happening so that you can take advantage of it. How are you going to take advantage of it? In the summer, my friends. In the summer, what's going to happen? I believe that inflation is going to go up. One, the tariff is going to be a mess. Not so much a mess for the US, because technically the US is going to collect about, what did I say, 156 billion. But it's going to create further uncertainty in the US economy and the US stock market. Third, the Fed is not going to lower the rates, right? Of course, some of the, you're going to say, well, look, the GDP is down, and yeah, I know the revised GDP is down, but inflation is going to go up. And the reason I know the inflation is up is because if you look at the true inflation, look at it, you're going to see it's creeping up. And true inflation usually comes up first before the CPI. And frankly, you could see that things are costing more money. Now, you also need to realize that CPI, my friends, the CPI that everybody's looking at and say, oh, the CPI is up and down. What is this number really? You have to understand that this number has been revised. The way they calculate the CPI has been revised so many times that frankly, if we used the same way we calculate the CPI now that we calculated, that's inflation in the US, that we calculate in the 80s and the 90s, that 3-4%, right now we're around 2.5%, that would be more like 7%. So it's a very relative number. Of course, it's a very important number because the Federal Reserve is actually looking at that number to make decisions. And that is what you need to worry about. Don't forget, subscribe to this channel.